Hello everyone, Wolfie here. Today we are gonna discuss shamans in TBC. What to look for, how to play one, what to focus on, and so on. Since shamans can have more than one spec, I'll try to go over each one. So let's head into it. Shamans are in the game from the beginning. They utilize nature elemental damage in ways of harming opponents or healing teammates. In order to channel their powers more effectively, shamans are putting down totems. There are 4 versions of elemental damage: fire, destructive and harmful; air, tranquil empowerment; water, replenishing resource; earth, protective and empowering at the same time. Since there aren't many races that can choose a way of shamanism, especially on the Alliance side, I won't go deep into pros and cons. On the Alliance side, the only choice is Draenei, and they are awesome, I'll tell ya. Draenei Shaman's strongest specialization is the Elemental, ultimate support for caster groups. That is because of the 1% spell hit aura they are bringing to casters. The reason why it is better is because a Restoration Shaman is rather being put in healer group or hunter group. When it comes to enhancement spec, there is nothing that gives Draenei's an edge in combat. Now to Horde races. Players can choose among Taurens, Orcs and Trolls. When it comes to numbers and min-maxing, Taurens are sadly the last choice. Nevertheless, they are good on paper and just awesome looking as usual. For role players and lore fans, Taurens will be always number 1 choice. Racials are not giving them any edge in any of 3 specs they can be. Those players who choose Tauren Shamans have my full support. Now let's move to Orcs vs Trolls. 2 races with strong racials got all 3 specs covered pretty good. Trolls are so good when it comes to Restoration Shaman spec, due to racial haste buff. As for Elemental and Enhancement, they aren't too bad for the same reason. Trolls are just awesome all-rounders, with above average length on cooldowns but with no major drawbacks. Orc Shamans, on the other hand, are there to strengthen Horde raids where Trolls are a little bit weaker. Basically, if you're leveling Orc Shaman, you're planning to play as a close-range combatant. As we all know, Orcs have overpowered racial, 3rd trinket kind of deal, on rather short cooldown but with a drawback of reduced healing. Now, that would be a problem for other specs, as you are risking taking more damage than healing in a short period of time. But, as a spec, Enhancement Shaman has ability as top of the talent tree called Shamanistic Rage, which for duration of activation reduces damage taken by 30% and also returns mana equal to 30% of your melee hits damage amount. So, used at the same time, it almost negates each other with big DPS increase. Elemental spec relies more on haste and critical chance than on flat spell damage. So in that regard, I'd rather go for Troll Shaman instead of an Orc. Restoration asks for more haste and flat spell bonus as well, so again Troll over Orc. Not to mention that with every Blood Fury activation outside of the enhancement tree, you have a major drawback. Okay, let's circle faction and race talk. As I mentioned already, Alliance have no other option but Draenei for all 3 specs. But for Horde, I was just going for Trolls as Restoration and Elemental primarily, and Enhancement as off spec, and Orcs for pure enhancement with any of off spec. As always, everything depends on many factors such as gear level, experience of class, boss fights, RNG and so on, so performance may differ from player to player. Now to move to talent loadout. Since we got 3 specs to cover, I won't go deep into every talent and ability, just most noticeable ones. First is Enhancement. Flurry increases your attack speed, enhancing totems, stronger earth and air totem buffs for your party, improved weapon totems and elemental weapons for stronger wind fury, mental quickness increases spell damage for 30% of your attack power, Storm Strike, one of the main attack abilities, and I'll mention Unleash Rage, which is support talent for melee party. Elemental tree has these noticeable talents: Elemental Focus, after crit reduced mana cost for next 2 spells, which refreshes after every crit, so crit chance is quite important. Elemental Precision, strong talent that gives almost all spell hit rating you need. Elemental Mastery, 3-minute cooldown ability which gives 100% crit chance and reduced spell cost for next spell. Lightning Overload, the talent that has a whopping 20% chance of proccing the same spell you have just casted once again with 50% drawback on damage but causes no threat and has no mana cost. And lastly, Totem of Wrath that gives 3% spell hit and spell crit to you and your party. This is what defines Elemental Shamans. Restoration tree is quite straightforward for chain heal spam. Ancestral Healing procs plus 25% armor, awesome for melee and tank healing. Healing Focus for avoiding interrupts, improved Chain Heal for obvious Chain Heal spam reasons, and Earth Shield, a Shaman Shield which you can buff on any raid member for various reasons. With this, Shamans can go up to 100% chance of avoiding spell interrupt, tank will get some extra healing and casters will benefit from 30% chance of avoiding spell interrupt, which will be useful on some fights that are AoE heavy. Enhancement Shaman stats. This is a tough one depending on your preference. I'll suggest these. This goes for throughout the expansion, especially armor penetration as its endgame stat for enhancement shamans. But at start you need to have 9% hit rating, which is at least 142 points, due to talent and restoration talent tree, and go for some expertise, where you can of course. Orc shamans wielding axes will have an edge in this regard due to racial. After that you want to boost your strength, a lot of it, because it's a flat source for attack power. In tight conjunction with this, it's agility / crit chance. For a shaman, agility is a source for only critical chance. Later on, when you reach 33% crit chance, you will go all out on strength and armor penetration in phase 5. You want that to upkeep constant or at least high uptime and flurry. Any extra additional items comes after these. Elemental shaman stats. As usual, casters want to have spell hit in check so that they can actually score hits. Elemental shaman has it easier as you only need 4% hit rating from gear, which is quite easily to get early on. After that, you want to stack spell crit. How much doesn't really matter. You will always look for gear pieces that have it. About the right amount will be around 40%. After crit, you can choose based on your preference. Do you want to hit harder or faster? And then go for spell damage or spell haste respectively. Also, my tip to raiders, where setup of raiders is constant, gear yourself per party you are in. For example, if you are in a warlock group with a bumpkin, go for more spell damage or haste, or if you are in a mage group with shadow priest, go for way more crit. Or better yet, just have 2 sets of gear loadouts. Lastly, Restoration Shaman, also my personal preference, is going for a lot of haste and MP5, so you're able to spam lower rank of chain heal and be just as effective. After that, focus on intellect, healing power and crit. Gear choices and suggestions. Since I'm covering all 3 specs at the same time, I'll give you 1 suggestion per item slot per spec to go for. Headpiece, Stealther's Helmet of Second Sight. Quest reward for Terran Gorefiend I Am. Spellstrike Hood crafted with tailoring. Whiteman Hood crafted with tailoring. Necklace, Choker of Vile Intent, Badge of Justice Vendor. Natasha's Amber Necklace, quest reward for the Houndmaster. Natasha's Guardian Cord, quest reward for the Houndmaster again. Shoulders, Wastewalker's Shoulder Pads, Avatar of Marty Red in Heroic Oceanite Crypts. Pauldrons of Wild Magic, Quagmiran in Heroic Slave Pens. Primal Mooncloth Shoulders, crafted with tailoring. Cloak, Vengeance Wrap, crafted with tailoring, bind on equip item. Shawl of Shifting Probabilities, Badge of Justice Vendor. Cloak of Ever-Living, Watchkeeper Gargolmar in Heroic Ramparts. Chest. Wastewalker Tunic, Calidan the Breaker in Blood Furnace Heroic. Mana Etched Vestments, Epoch Hunter, Old Hillsbred Foothills. Primal Mooncloth Robe, crafted with tailoring. Bracers. Nightfall Wrist Guard, Epoch Hunter in Old Hillsbred Foothills Heroic. Bracers of Havoc, crafted with tailoring, bind on equip item. Bindings of the Time Walker, Keepers of Time, exalted level of reputation. Gloves. Fell leather gloves crafted with leatherworking, bind on equip item. Earth Mantle hand drafts, Machineer Steam Rigger in Steam Molds. Prismatic Mittens of Mending, Commander Serranis in Botanica. Girdle of the Dead Dealer, Aeonus Black Morass Heroic. Girdle of Ruination, crafted with tailoring, bind on equip item. Primal Mooncloth Belt, crafted with tailoring. Legs. Cleft Hoof Hide Leggings, quest reward for the Showdown quest. Spellstrike Pants, crafted with tailoring. Whiteman Pants, also crafted with tailoring. Boots. Fell Leather Boots, crafted with leatherworking, bind on equip item. Sigil Laced Boots, Harbinger Skyrus in Arcatraz. Wayfury Boots, Rockmar the Crackler, Slave Pants Heroic. Rings. Shapeshifter Signet, Lower City Exalted Level Reputation, and Ring of Varati Warlords, Badge of Justice Vendor. Seer Signet, Scratch Reputation, Exalted Level, and Ring of Cryptic Dreams, Badge of Justice Vendor. Cosmic Life Band, Nethermancer Sepetria in Mechanar, and Ancestral Band from Tralmar, Reputation, Revered Level, or Alliance counterpart, Ring of Convalescence, Honor, Old Revered Level of Reputation. Trinkets. Hourglass of Unraveler, Temporus in Black Morass, and Bloodlust Brook, Badge of Justice Vendor. Quagmiran's Eye, Quagmiran in Slave Pants, and Icon of Silver Crescent, Badge of Justice Vendor. Scarab of the Infinite Cycle, Aeonus, Black Morass, and Essence of Martyr, Badge of Justice Vendor. Main hand plus offhand. Dragon Maw, crafted with Blacksmithing, BOP, or the Blade Fist from Kargat and Shadowhold's Heroic, plus Runic Hammer, crafted with Blacksmithing, bind on equip item. Gavel of Unearthed Secrets, Lower City Exalted Reputation, plus Khadgar's Knapsack, Badge of Justice Vendor. Shockwave Truncheon, Murmur in Shadow Labs Heroic, plus Tears of Heaven, Badge of Justice Vendor. And lastly, Totem, Totem of Astral Winds from Pandemonius, Mana Tomb's Heroic, Totem of the Void, Cache of the Legion in Mechanar, Totem of Spontaneous Regrowth, Manu the Betrayer in Slaypan's Heroic. That's about how much I'm gonna advise about pieces of gear you should farm or craft. Take another look at every piece to get an idea of what kind of stat you should go for. Gemming and enhancing shaman gear is a roller coaster since you have to have stats balanced. Enhancement shaman asks for a lot of strength gems, either pure strength or combined with critical chance. Meta gem should be regular 12 agility, but in order to activate it you need 2 blue gems, which can be strength and stamina, and 2 yellow gems which can be pure hit rating, or just 2 green ones and rest red gems. Personal preference really. Enchantments should cover strength where possible, where not, go for agility. Weapons can do good with Crusader, but agility enchant would allow you to gem more pure strength. Later on, Mongoose and Executioner will be best in slot. Glyph of Ferocity from the Cenarion Expedition for your head enchant, and Cobra Hide leg armor for pants, later on upgradable to Nether Cobra leg armor. For shoulder enchantment, I'd suggest going for Alder Reputation. Elemental Shaman, as I mentioned earlier, asks for a lot of critical chance, but gemming should be orientated towards combination of spell critical chance and spell damage, or spell haste and spell damage. Metagem should be a regular caster metagem, and to activate it you need at least 2 of blue, or in this case rather use purple gems. Gear enchants are spell power ones for gloves and bracers, stats for chest, burst speed or flat stamina for boots. For weapon enchant, you will pretty much use 40 spell damage until the end of the expansion. Glyph of Power for head enchantment from Shatar Reputation, and Mystic Spell Thread for pants, upgradable to Runic Spell Thread. For shoulder enchantment, I'd suggest going for Scry's Reputation. Restoration Shaman can do awesome with gemming pure spell haste. I'd avoid gemming pure bonus healing as much as possible. Metagem should be mana replenishing one, but to activate it you need 2 both blue and red next to yellows. So in order to activate it, go for 2 purple ones, as they will count as both colors. Gear enchants should be healing power where possible, but it's personal preference between MP5 and other enchants like stats and subtlety. For boots, you can go with stamina if your HP is really low to survive AoE damage on some boss fights, major healing on weapon, and Hellfire Reputation Glyph of Renewal for headpiece. For pants, there is Silver Spell Thread for start, upgradable to Golden Spell Thread later on. For shoulder enchant, I suggest going for Scry's Reputation again, as it's giving more MP5. Professions for each spec I would suggest are leatherworking for enhancement along with skinning for start, since from phase 1 blacksmithing one-handed maces won't be possible to dual wield, but if you're fine with wielding only one mace, blacksmithing is also very good. And for endgame, leatherworking plus jewel crafting. For elemental, tailoring and jewel crafting, and leatherworking plus jewel crafting in the endgame. And for restoration, leatherworking and alchemy all the way for maximum min-maxing. Disclaimer that picking your profession is quite dependent on the fact what professions you have on your alts and if you actually have alts. Desired consumables are as follows: Enhancement, Rose's Cleft Hoof, and Elixir of Agility and Elixir of Dranic Wisdom if you're under 33% crit chance. If you're over 33% crit chance, then go for Flask of Relentless Assault. Out of potions, Haste Potions, or alternatively Insane Strength Potion, Scroll of Strength and Agility are always welcome. And of course make sure to have drums on you if you're a leather worker. Elemental, any kind of spell damage food, or Skullfish Soup if you want to min-max. Elixir of Dranic Wisdom, Adept's Elixir is the combination to go for. As for potions, Distraction Potion and Super Mana Potion in case you really need it. Straightforward caster buffs. Restoration, golden fish sticks are only go-to healing food honestly. Second choice would be any food that gives plus 20 spirit. Guardian, Elixir of Dranic Wisdom, or Elixir of Major Mage Blood if you're rich enough. And Elixir of Healing Power for Battle Elixir. In case of Flask, it's preference between MP5 Flask of Mighty Restoration and Intellect Flask of Distilled Wisdom. Potions are Super Mana Potion, or even better and cheaper Mad Alchemist Potion, if you pursue Alchemy, which have all beneficial random buffs, in case it doesn't overwrite your existing elixirs. As for weapon coating, I suggest Superior Mana Oil. Basic totems you should use in normal rotation as per spec are: for Elemental, Totem of Wrath, Tremor Totem, Wrath of Air, and Mana Spring Totem. Restoration if in Healer or Caster group, Wrath of Air, Mana Spring, and Tremor Totem. Restoration if in Hunter group, Strength of Earth, Mana Spring, Grace of Air, and Searing Totem if it's a boss fight. Enhancement, Strength of Earth, Mana Spring, Searing Totem, and then Twist for melees with Grace of Air being down for 8 seconds, and then casting Wind Fury, and then recasting Grace of Air once again for next 8 seconds. Rotation is either really easy or rather complicated on first sight. As Shaman, put down your totems and cast Water Shield or Earth Shield on yourself or tank before pull so you can start casting or using abilities as soon as the fight starts. As Elemental, you pretty much cast Lightning Bolts and use your Chain Lightning when it comes off of a cooldown. But beware of possible CC'd mobs, same goes for Searing Totem. As Restoration, you want to chain heal almost 100% of time. Some players find Resto Shami quite boring, but I personally liked it because of the potential of landing chain heal with high percentage of pure heal and little overheal, and also of course possible of hitting all 3 targets. Thing is, you should down rank to rank 3 even. Later on, with more gear, rank 2 haste spam will be sufficient. Having 3 to 4 ranks on your action bars is a necessity. Also macro with Nature's Swiftness and top rank for those oh shit moments when DPS derps and pulls. And lastly, enhancement. After totems and shield, start off with Flame Shock and then Storm Strike. Flame Shock leaves 12 seconds dot on target, so in 6 seconds use Earth Shock. After another 6 seconds, Flame Shock should be available to be used again, just as dot is running out. Rinse and repeat. Keep up your totems and totem twisting in the window after using Shock and Storm Strikes, as casting totems won't interfere with melee wide attacks. Once you start getting pop Shamanistic Rage and get your mana back up again. As for totem twisting, you want to put down Wind Fury and then cast Grace of Air on very next GCD. Wind Fury will imbue your party with Wind Fury for 9 seconds, and then on top of that will give them a nice amount of agility. Internal imbue cooldown of Wind Fury is about 3 seconds, so twist totems between 6th and 9th second after previous twist. Don't worry about getting out of rotation every once in a while, since lag is gonna build up and push your rotation for a second or so. So you will drop Flame Shock for a second or Wind Fury will not be up for a second. Just recoup and do your best. When it comes to the usefulness of a shaman in a raid or party, nothing beats heroism and bloodlust. Apart from that, there are all kinds of totems for situational purposes. Tremor totems breaks fear and charms for parties and is quite powerful. Earthbind totems slow down enemies. Magma totem does a nice chunk of AoE but on longer cooldown. Earth and fire elementals can either tank some damage or deal AoE fire damage respectively. Tranquil air totem decreases threat by party members, and so on. Reincarnation is very much OP. Water walking can be casted on all raid members, shaman can shapeshift into a wolf and be faster, and so on. Since I treated all 3 specs as main spec for shaman, there isn't off spec to talk about. Well, actually there might be a meme spec for shaman where it can tank mobs, even bosses. If you want, you can request a video about shaman tanks in the comments below, but I saw and heard about it being done even in tier 4. Surely the thread wasn't the best, but it was fun to see out of ordinary stuff happening. After all, Blizzard did allow shamans to use shield and gave them anticipation talent. Might as well use it, right? And there we have it, basics on shaman class you need to start diving deeper into number crunching and min-maxing on your own. If I skipped anything, remind me in the comments. In the meantime, stay safe and have fun playing the game. Until the next video, bye bye.